Boy, oy. Da-na-na-na-na-na. We never did our end of summer show, guy.
Well, I mean, summer's not done yet.
Summer's done, guy.
When is summer done?
Summer's done, guy.
When is summer? When did it finish?
Guy, you're wearing a fucking lumberjack shirt, guy. Summer's done, guy. Who you?
I didn't want to iron my t-shirt. That's all.
Guy come full lumberjack asking me about
You
summer.
ironed that t-shirt?
Nah.
No. Oh, you put your t-shirts in the dryer.
Yeah.
Okay. How's my voice sound?
Sounds all right.
Low? High?
A little bit lower.
It sounds lower than usual?
No. Oh, Pizza in the Break Room is live on the internet. And there's already people here.
So what do you say? You put your shirts in the dryer?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was episode 11, yo.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. You turn to the right, you see some shirts hanging up right now. Other way, to your left.
No
shirt. No shirt. Oh, it's right there.
Mm-hmm.
Weird, yo. That's the worst for your shirts. Doesn't your shirts all get thing right here then? Stretch right here.
No.
A little bit.
Yeah?
A little bit.
Look at me out. I don't even know which way is which way. Okay.
No, those shirts, I know it's hard here. Those shirts are good good material, that original Merci Couture shirt.
Merci Couture.
I still have one of those. It's all now, it's like 6 years old and choppy, but the shirt itself is still well done. Right, Mrs. Ron C. Big up, Mrs. Ron C. Good evening.
This is some Reebok or some Nike? Yes, fritters.
In the house.
Is this some Reebok or some Nike? You know that song?
No, what song's that? Am I supposed to know this song?
It was a popular song.
What's the name of the song, guy?
Is this some Reebok or some Nike?
That's the name of the song?
Yeah.
Where's that song play?
It was playing everywhere at one point. Yeah. Clubs, radio, stores.
Really?
Yeah. Where else?
Like what kind of stores?
Who, Mrs. Ron C., who sang that song? Like, I mean, if you ask me, I'm thinking Cher sings it, but I don't think it's Cher sings it.
Cher?
But it sounds like a song that Cher would have sang in her comeback days, you know, like.
Do you believe in life?
Like one of those. Is this some Reebok or some Nikes? Oh yeah. like one of those ones.
How long you been out? You wrote that down in your notes, guy? What in the world, yo?
Yo, you know that song.
Hey, what is your problem? Oh man. This is your friend, Mrs. Ron C. Just for the record, this is your friend. This is gonna be. Miss Ron C, you're like, you need the link, yo. Like, what the hell? Like, help me. You gotta hit me up in the chat, Mrs. Ron C. Let me in on the inside joke here.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, what up, Fave? Yo, focus, man.
Hello, what up with you? I feel this is too loud.
You got too much. What? No, you're good. You got too much. Oh, like the output or what you're putting. Your sound. You sound good.
I sound good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had too much creatine this morning, guy?
No, I didn't have any creatine. I almost didn't even have anything to eat, to tell you the truth.
You sound like you're hopped up on creatine, guy. Or you had broccoli and sugar this morning.
Broccoli and sugar. What would that make? Beef and broccoli. You eat beef and broccoli?
Yeah.
That was my go-to meal.
And then
I stopped eating beef. That was my go-to meal at a Chinese restaurant. What? Beef and broccoli? So tasty.
But
So tasty. There's no but. It's just tasty.
that's it.
Are you a Chinese food kind of guy?
I eat Chinese food.
Yeah. Do you have a specific, like when you go, like this is what you're ordering? Bam.
No, I'm a little versatile, I guess.
Yeah.
I like some noodles.
Noodles. So is it you Cantonese chow mein, Cantonese lao mein? Is it?
I usually get the special lo mein. Everybody's got a special lo mein.
Everybody's got their own special type of lo mein.
Yeah.
What's the one? The one next door to me. They make one Manchurian. Is it Manchurian?
Manchurian wok, yo? Manchu wok? Manchurian candidate?
The Manchurian candidate.
Is that it? No?
Manchurian candidate. They say that's true though.
Oh boy. Manchurian candidate. That's funny. Chico. What up, Chico? Good evening, sir.
Game time.
You do drops now too, guy? Is that how you start doing drops? Do a game time drop? You should charge you should charge for that, guy.
Charge a bit for a drop?
Yeah. Give him like, it's Chico, so he gets like 3 free, and then that's it. Then we got to charge him because you know what they say. Business is business. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. So how was your weekend, man?
I didn't do anything this weekend. My weekend was quite relaxed. Caught up on some shows and some movies. Yeah, I stayed in. I hunkered down. On the weekend.
What'd you watch?
You're gonna make me try to remember stuff now. I watched the whatchamacallit, the Denzel movie. What's the Denzel movie
Little
called?
Things.
Little Things?
Yes, Little Things. That was referred to us by Chantel Dubois. The 30-day transformation queen.
I watched that, and I don't know, whatever else shows were on. There was something else I watched. Something else that was good I watched. Like, I feel like I watched a series over the weekend.
Like a whole entire series?
I feel like Cobra Kai.
I started Cobra Kai.
What do you mean by you started?
Yeah, I turned it on at the shop.
Like
that's
this
where
season,
I usually watch it. No. This last season, and I keep hearing that this last season is good too. I hear like this one is the best one.
So far, so good.
Yeah, but I wasn't really getting to really get into it for some reason. I mean, I was working, so I mean, yeah. But I felt like I'm not getting the gist of what's really happening, so I'm gonna have to like watch it at home.
You think?
Yeah, because the other ones, for some reason, I was able to like, just work and kind of listen and hear what's going on and, turn my head when the good scenes are coming on. But this one is like, I feel like I'm missing stuff.
You know what I've learned, guy? Is Danny LaRusso's an asshole, guy.
Yes, but from time.
Nah, he's the real problem, guy. This is everything. Yeah. Everything's his fault, man.
They told us that. Yeah, that's what's his name said at the beginning, right?
Who's
in
that?
Season 1.
Mr. Miyagi?
No, Mr. Miyagi. In Season 1, what's his?
Johnny 5?
Yeah, Johnny. Johnny's like, yo, the asshole came. He took my girl.
Oh my goodness, Miss Sylvia. Good evening. Happy Tuesday.
Miss Sylvia, tap in.
Man, Danny LaRusso. He's the jerk, man. He is.
He's
still to this day. Like, guy, you can't go anywhere with that guy.
You know it's dope though. It's dope that it's dope the way that they made this Cobra Kai, and then they give it to you, like at least the first season when they gave it to you from the perspective of Johnny. You know what I mean? It's like when they revisited how Karate Kid went from Johnny's perspective, you're like, yo, Danny's a jerk, man.
Big jerk, yo.
LaRusso is a jerk. I'm like, yo, no wonder you get beat up. Yeah.
He's the bad guy. He's that's the kid, whatever the kid's name, Johnny's stepson or what? What's the guy's name? What's his name? Oh fuck! I'm bad with names, anyways. Johnny Five Alive. That's what.
Now I got to watch all these old movies from the villain's perspective, from the antagonist perspective to see how it goes.
I feel like you're just gonna like all the villains no matter what, guy. I don't feel like you're just gonna be the villain guy. You're gonna start getting tattoos of the villains all over you, guy.
Like Thanos. Is Thanos the good guy or is he the bad guy?
I mean, that's the question, right?
All right.
It's all about perspective.
I like how they kind of create these new shows with different perspectives. Like what do you call it? Their arcs, the story arcs. Even if I'm a bad guy right now or the bad guy to you, this is why. Feel sorry for me. Nobody gave me no therapy. Nobody gave me no hug.
You need a hug, brother?
Right?
You don't like hugs, guy.
Like Spider-Man.
Yeah, you take pictures. I take pictures with you. You're like, no, don't touch me. Don't smile. I got to stay on brand.
Who, me?
Yeah, you, guy. You got to let it in, man. You got to let the love in.
Everybody gets a hug. I'm like Oprah.
Nah, fuck that guy.
You get a hug. You get a hug. No, I don't. Nah.
You don't hug nobody, guy.
Nah. I dip out early. I'll be out early.
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm out of here.
Dap, I'm out.
I was about to hug Fitz. Where is he?
It was time for the hug. All right. What episode is this?
Tell me.
Where is it? I'm looking for it, actually. I'm getting old, Fitz. You know this. Episode
63.
Episode 63. It's another Tuesday in the books, or almost in the books, or ready to be in the books, or something like that.
Yeah. In the Brooks. In the Brook.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yo, man, don't run with me, yo.
Foxy G's in the break room. Ah, jeez. I can't with you. You don't start with me today, man. I started drinking early. Don't start with me today, man. I'm gonna get all sentimental.
I didn't even get to drink last week. The conversation was going so sweet last week. I couldn't even get up and go get my drink. I was like, shit, I forgot it in the fridge.
No, man, you gotta do what you gotta do. It's time. You gotta be.
I got it today.
You think you got all your notes and shit ready for today?
I was Pilates.
Pilates was.
I got my notes. I got my.
What is this? What is that? Water?
I got my drink.
I don't know this kind of. What is that?
It's called Voga Italia.
Hurry up! Tell people what it is, and then let's start the show.
It's a peanut. If we do it like this, how are we ever going to get commercial sponsorship if you rush me through it?
Hey, how are we ever going to get guests on if you take fucking an hour to put them on? Let's go, guy.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, it's a Pinot Grigio, and you'll see me open it sometime during the episode. Oh, look at this sticker.
What's that now?
It says.
Can't see it, man.
It says.
You drank already and filled this back up with water for the show.
There we go. Anyways, it says award-winning. All that for that.
All right.
5 stars.
All right. 5 stars. Okay, here we go, everybody. So on the show today, what'd you say? In the Brooks? What was that? Whatever. Anyways.
In the Brooks.
We're gonna delve back. I purposely wore my Scarborough's Not for the Week shirt today. Coach Randy Brookes and the two of us go way, way back. I realized actually how far I went back because I did remember, and it flashed to me that we played on a baseball team in Little League one time as well. So this is way, way back. Way, way back. So if anybody doesn't know Coach Randy Brookes, we're going to tell you lots of stories about this person, some musical Toronto history, some sports stuff, and what else do we got? We got lots of stories to tell. So we're going to catch up with Coach Randy. Thank you everybody for being here. Episode 63.
Episode 63. Peace in the break room. Grab yourself a slice in the back. Make yourself comfortable. We'll be right back.
We here now. We here. Yeah. It's in the break room, y'all. Holla, holla, holla. Woo!
Good evening, sir.
Coach Randy.
What's going on, captains? How y'all doing?
What's going
Good,
on?
man. Good,
Sure,
man.
man.
Happy to have you, sir.
All right. I appreciate you guys inviting me on as a guest on episode 63. Wow, 63 episodes.
So, yeah.
You
Wild
guys
when I
been-
think about it.
You guys been getting
Tdothotshot says that's Jordan. That's
busy.
Jordan in the garden.
No doubt. No doubt. What was episode 1 about? Do you guys remember that one?
Oh, what was episode 1 about?
Way back.
Wow. This is what, April?
Okay.
Was it April? Was it that early?
That sounds about April of last year. So I'm sure we talked a
No,
little bit
not
about.
that. Nah, it wasn't that early. I think it was.
What? 63, guys. 63 weeks. Like
Okay.
52 is a year.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Oh, man.
Right, and then you know we're at 63, so that's another 3 months or so. Right?
Golly. Okay.
That's Mary Ward maths right there, quick maths.
There you go. Get those units done.
So
Oh,
in
wow.
episode 1, I think we were just talking, just
Okay.
chatting, just trying to figure out what our voices sounded like,
Right.
trying to figure out who we were.
I didn't even have a real microphone. Right?
What's that?
I didn't even have like a real microphone.
No, you didn't have a microphone. You were kind of reluctant to getting one.
Look at me now.
I was like, get a microphone. He's like, nah, I'm good, man. These earbuds are a bomb.
They were, but I didn't know I had to be all I'm half professional and shit. I'm trying.
Was that when the women's soccer team they won? Did they win the game? Or when
They were winning something.
episode 1?
I don't know about episode 1. No, that was like episode like 7, guys.
No, it wasn't that deep. It was like episode 1, and we were talking. I'm like, do we cut this out or do we not cut this out?
No, that was way late, guys.
No.
Did you guys have any guests, or was it just you two?
No, we didn't do guests until we got live.
Yeah, we went at least the first 25 episodes were just me
Chopping
and
it
him
up.
straight Zoom.
Okay.
Mhm.
No doubt. So this was pretty much born out of what? COVID? Is that how this thing came about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
COVID. These are basically like, hey man, how's it going? Like every week, let's call, let's chat. And we
Right.
spend a couple hours on the phone chatting, and then, all right, well, we should have recorded that. That was fun.
Yeah.
We were just like, all right, let's record it. It's the meme going on right now. Everybody got a podcast, but you know what?
Right.
Screw it. I like my
Yeah.
podcast. It's all right.
It works. No, you guys are doing a good job, man. I like to come up. I've seen it grow and seen the audience grow, and I see the graphics are getting amazing and all that. So you guys are doing it.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I got a good tech guy, man. I got a very good tech guy. He knows
Okay.
what he's doing.
All right.
In between haircuts, you know?
Yeah. I know Fitz is doing it too. Fitz is a good look. He's dabbling, not just a barber.
Right?
Man.
Oh.
Yo, that thing's got a cork, guy.
Yeah, right.
Okay, he's about to get
Popped it off,
slushy.
and then there's a cork.
Getting comfortable real
That's
quick.
fake. That's fake fancy guy.
And
Nice.
Lewis, what up with you? Tadao, what up with you?
Big up to Dow. Oh my gosh. Do you remember that? Little League Baseball? You remember that shit? Yo?
Funny thing is, right before we logged in,
Mm.
I was like, I wonder if Shaun remembers the first time we met, because two things come to mind. The first time that's really in my head is when I went against y'all in some basketball vibes, St. Rene versus St. Aidan, and you guys just trashed us quickly. I remember that, and I'm like, no, you know what? I know Shaun prior to that, even though we probably didn't chat it too much at that time, but Wexford baseball, I think I was in grade, I don't know.
We were
5 or
little, man.
6.
Man.
Grade 5 or 6.
Because that was like house league. That was before, because I played a couple of years like after that, and that was like house league, yo. I remember that for real.
Baseball.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was
Baseball,
my first sport. That was actually my
rich
first
kids, eh?
sport.
Yeah, the
not
rich
not
kids.
really.
came.
Wexford in Scarborough.
Yeah, but I
That was
mean,
easy money.
oh, you guys got.
That was easy money, man. My parents put me in that because it was nice and affordable.
Yeah.
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 No, sure, yeah. Baseball back in the day wasn't that expensive, man. You had to get cleats and a cup, guy, and you're good, and a glove, and somebody had a glove for you.
Not
Hand me downs, man.
You say cleats and gloves. Me, anything more than cleats.
So you're gonna play? You're gonna go without the glove, guy? Bare hand baseball. You play.
Like I said, there's no baseball for me. Had to be soccer.
No doubt, no doubt.
Had
Now,
to be
baseball was
soccer.
fun. Baseball was fun. We rocked on some T-ball vibes early, hitting those home runs, and then we graduated to the little league, house league. It was fun.
Yeah,
I
man.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's way back.
So
Man.
Yeah, it's
were
great
you,
fight.
were
Great
you
shit.
faster than everybody then?
I believe so. My memory's both correct.
It's funny because I'm a competitive person.
I remember
And
that.
I was the fastest guy in my school in grade 8.
Right.
And I remember racing. We were at Holy Spirit,
Holy Spirit.
100-meter final, and it was like me, you, Darwin was there. There's somebody else there.
I think Daniel was in that too.
Maybe, right?
Yeah.
And I remember
Who?
Daniel.
Yeah.
Oh, Daniel. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
He used to chirp a little bit as well, saying he was faster than me. I heard a little bit of the chirping, so I'm like, okay.
No, I didn't chirp. I chirped. I just chirped at my school because I heard about Randy Brookes. But because Darwin would always be like, "Yo, man, my guy Randy, he's like the fastest guy in the world, guy." And I was just like, Darwin was always preaching that. And I remember, like, I was ahead of you, Randy, at like just a 100-meter race.
1 meter.
7 maybe. Like two steps, guy.
Okay.
And I looked over, and then boom, I lost by like. And you just gave it, guy. I ended up coming in 4th. Like I can tell a true story, guy. But I was like the 7-meter mark. I was ahead, so that's my claim to fame when it comes to track and field, guy.
There you go. Holy Spirit!
I was never the fastest in my school.
Oh yeah.
I was never the fastest in my school, and I was fast.
So what was the grade school you went to again?
St. Sylvester. Crystal was the fastest in my school.
There you go. St. Sylvester. You guys bringing back the old school vibes.
Crystal was the fastest in my school. She was
just regardless, right?
Yes. Crystal and Colette,
yeah.
Gibbs.
I had to be faster than Colette. Like Crystal was a year younger than me.
Yeah.
And Colette was a year younger than her. I couldn't let Colette be faster than me too. That was
double whammy.
She probably beat you, guy. I don't believe you.
Shout out to Colette. She actually hit me up about a couple months ago because I know she has a young daughter and she's looking some track club vibes. But she said coming from Scarborough to Durham was too far. So I was trying to see if we can get reconnected. But she's out here now because I know she was in Texas, I believe.
Something like that, right?
Yeah. Shout out to the Gibbs sisters. They were world famous. Scarborough.
Big up to the Gibbs, yo.
Rakewood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Rakewood. Like that is like sometimes it seems like yesterday, and sometimes it just feels like forever. I think
forever ago.
Right? Like all at the same time. Like as you're telling me these stories, I'm like, yeah, like I'm just like jumping right into them talking about these people. It's like, yeah, like you remember some of this stuff vividly.
Right.
But
it's like a blur. It's a crazy blur. Like just remembering, Scarborough and the elementary school era was incredible because I went to 2 schools. I went to St. Marie Goretti, which is right by Kennedy Station. And that was
you were down that way, huh?
That was it. Kennedy and Eglinton. I actually lived on Kenmark Boulevard, which is the same street for St. Mary Goretti, and we had like an incredible athletic team for track, for basketball,
for everything. That school was pretty athletic.
Yeah. Shout out to Dwayne Desario. Him and his brothers went there.
Oh, they were there too?
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
Oh.
Yeah. Like that nook right there, that corner, South Scarborough, was amazing. We had a lot of athletes at that school, and the culture was very interesting for sure. Multicultural, good vibes, just outside playing, doing our thing. And then grade 4, we moved out to St. Rene Goupil, and that was traumatic for me, man. Because
didn't the move hurt, man?
It was traumatic, man. Like my mom had to pull me out of the basement. I remember like breaking down, crying, saying, "I don't want to go to another school."
You're telling me my life right now. You're telling me. I was in same thing. I was in the West End and grade 4, Christmas time. I started grade 4.
Oh my God!
We moved at Christmas.
Painful. Even worse.
Moving to Scarborough from Etobicoke. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
I don't. All my friends can't come.
I never had to do that, yo. I never moved as a youth.
Yeah, man.
No,
we had to move out. But it was interesting because coming from Kennedy and Eglinton, we moved to Midland and Steeles area. So completely different cultural shift. I remember going to McDonald's at Woodside Square, and I saw English on one side, and then I saw like Mandarin, or maybe it was, Chinese. I'm not too sure.
Cantonese, something.
Cantonese.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. And
No, well, if you see in the script, it's all the same. They speak different languages. They read the same language. They read the same. They read the same characters, but they.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds like you know.
It sounds like it. That's true.
All right. So I'll go with that. But yeah, I was like in cultural shock. And, shout out to all my Filipinos, my peoples from China, Japan, Taiwan, Thailand. I mean, I got, engrossed in that culture while we were there, in school at St. Rene, and I met a lot of different cultures, but it was a culture shock for sure, because back at Kennedy Eglinton, we had the blacks, the whites, the Indians, like various different cultural backgrounds, and coming down to Midland and Steeles, it was predominantly an Asian community, which was all good. I just wasn't used to it. And, no one from my school in Goretti, like no one knew who or what was St. Rene Goupil. I always had to explain like what that school was about. And then our uniforms were kind of funky. We had like a fluorescent green t-shirt, which was kind of like whack. So when I saw my peoples from St. Mary Goretti at a track meet or a basketball game or volleyball game, they're like, what school you're at? I'm like, St. Rene Goupil. They're like, what school is that? I'm like, this school. And they're like, okay, it's the school with the fluorescent green. It was kind of odd, but we got used to it. We made it funky eventually.
SMG. That's crazy.
Man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, and then the best thing that ever happened, right? We ended up at Mary Ward.
Man,
Right
that was the classical move right there, man. Like I remember meeting Fitz. I heard about Fitz from everybody. Obviously my brother was a little older than me.
He can fly. He can fly.
Yeah. I met Fitz like grade 7. And I was one of those dudes who always had to have a nice haircut right before a sporting event. And I heard Fitz can do some amazing designs. So I checked the boy, and I had like the high top, like
yes.
I had the Gumby, like the high top Gumby.
Right.
You remember that, right?
Yes.
And he did me justice, man. We had some very nice designs, man. Extremely sophisticated, high level designs. So I come to the meet, and then on top of people thinking, oh, who's this guy, Randy Brookes? Who's the kid with the design? So it was like a double-edged sword. It was either the track dude or the dude with the design. So I kept on checking Fitz all the time before a meet. So it was real cool, man. Real cool. I appreciate that, Fitz.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate you.
Yeah,
I appreciate all you guys for allowing me canvases.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. You grew nice, man. I like what you're doing now. KUTURE and Markham. If no one knows what's happening, go to Markham, man. I live in Durham, and I gotta travel all the way to Markham to get the beer taken care of, man. So it's a good look.
Much respect. Somebody's asking, what's Randy's brother's name?
Roland Brookes. 2 years older than me.
2 years.
2 years, 18 months actually. My parents got busy right after. They're like, let's just make this thing happen.
So are you saying Doc, she's good to go?
Let's make this happen. Let's push them out.
Stop this.
Yeah,
you guys are funny.
But yeah, Mary Ward, classic school. Like that's where all the roads led in Scarborough.
Who was your TA?
You already know who my TA was. Mr. Dagastino.
Dagger, that's right. Of course. What kind of stupid questions?
Oh,
right. Man.
He made sure he got you, huh?
Right away. He told me even before Direction 2000 started, he's like, I'm going to be your TA. I'm like, what's a TA? He's like, you'll find out soon enough.
So everybody in the chat, a TA is, okay, we went to a school which was independent learning. We spoke about this before, have we?
A little bit, yeah.
Anyways, if anybody doesn't know, we went to a school called Mary Ward, and they had a program introduced in 1991 called Direction 2000. And what it was a program where they were introducing the idea of independent learning. All right. So instead of you going to classes, what would happen is you'd be assigned programs,
Units of work.
Units, right? So for instance, for you to get your English credit, so you want to get your grade 9 English credit, you have to finish 20 units. 20 units, and then do an exam. And if you've passed the exam, you get your credit. And that's on your own time. So if it takes you a year and a half to do it, it takes you a year and a half. If it takes you 2 years to do it, it takes you 2 years. If it takes you 6 weeks, you can get your credit in 6 weeks. So it was independent learning. So also now we weren't broken down into classes. What happened is at the start of the school day, every student was assigned to a TA, which is a teacher advisor. So the teacher, you go check in at the beginning of the day and say to your teacher advisor, he said, "What are you going to be working on today?" "Today, I'm going to work on some math in the math section, in the math resource center, and then maybe at 1 o'clock I'll go work on some English." So you kind of direct how you want your day to be. So when he says that Dagastino was his teacher TA, that means it's his teacher advisor. That's who he had to report to. And why me and Shaun say, "Oh, for sure," because Dagastino was the track and field coach. So obviously, when Randy's coming to the school, he's making sure Randy's his guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he pulled me in real early because I think Direction 2000 started, Shaun, the second semester we were there.
Grade 9, second semester, grade 9 for us.
Right.
So you guys didn't even really get no real school.
No, man.
No,
I got grade 9, grade 10, and then 11. We went into
man.
Yeah.
We got no real schooling.
So you guys are walking hallways from the begined.
Yeah, that's all we knew.
You guys never stood a chance. So how do you end up in UCLA? Good for you, man.
How'd that happen?
Yeah, good for you. You must have been really fast.
Oh, man. Hey, Dad. My TA was a track coach. Come on. He had candid, you know?
Oh, you're silly, guy.
Because everybody on my team, they failed or they left school. They're like, "I can't do this."
Oh yeah.
Good for you, man.
My whole crew left. My brother left. Everybody, they went to Vanier, went to Campbell, or even Lieberman. So I wasn't home, man. So I had to study, man. No, everybody was gone.
Oh, look at this here. Comfy Krista says, Dagger is a legend. Dagger got her sister to ISU. Is it LSU or ISU? LSU?
Idaho? I don't know. What is that?
I say it's LSU.
If it's LSU, goddamn. That's a crazy school right there. That's a heavy school. You know what? Dagger did a lot of work.
Oh, Illinois State University.
Illinois, okay. To this day, Mary Ward still holds silver records for the girls' teams. I think 4x4, 4x1. He did a lot of work. So shout out to Dagastino. He had an incredible program at Mary Ward for sure.
Dagger's a G still.
Oh yeah, he's OG. He's OG, man.
Oh, her sister. She sounds like her sister's part of those record breakers.
Probably.
Wicked.
I forgot the sister's name, but I know Chrissy. I know Krissa. She's the world famous mortgage broker. I believe she does. So she's shout out. But yeah, her younger sister was a boss too. I remember her doing her thing. Definitely younger than me, but yeah, Mary Ward did her thing with the girls. A lot of girls did well. Yes, sir.
Okay. So how did you get involved in the music aspect of your life?
You know what? That was from day one, man. Like, I would say straight out the gate, man, when I was, a young boy in Scarborough, Kennedy and Eglinton, it was in the blood, man. Like, just like anyone else who was in the neighborhood, we were intrigued by the beats, by the rhymes, listening to the radio. So I was always a great fan of music, even bigger than sports. I thought at that age group, when I was really young, I was more into music than sports, to be honest, as far as. So yeah, that was always one thing with me. Whatever I did, it was always with music involved, training, trying to get hyped for a track meet, just anything, doing homework, always listening to the radio, listening to a cassette. So music's in the blood, man. So that was just one and the same with sports and track.
Mm.
Yes, sir. Especially dancing too. Like, I don't know about y'all, but we love to dance in our neighborhood. We had like the cardboards out, and we were doing the spins and the moonwalks, the Michael Jackson. I mean, we were just trying to vibe out, you know. So music was something that was essential, man. It kept you away from all the wildness in the Scarborough streets too. So,
Could you ever do a windmill?
you know what? I was actually pretty good doing it.
Could you do a windmill, T-Dot?
Do it. What is this? A windmill dunk? Maybe.
The windmill flare, you know, when you the legs go and I could never do that. I think that was the one thing I couldn't do.
Yeah, I was able to do it. I did like a lot of handstand moves too, a little pop in here and there. Yeah, man. I was dancing a little bit and just got into just collecting tapes, man, and just going out to concerts, man. Even grade 7, I went to my first concert. My pops took my brother and myself. We went to Public Enemy.
Oh, say a word.
Grade 7. Yeah. So
yeah,
it was crazy. I think Nice and Smooth, who was actually here on Saturday downtown, Nice and Smooth opened up, and Dogg opened up. So it was like a real interesting concert because you had Dogg with his joint, you know, F Compton.
Yeah, yes.
And Smooth, and then Public Enemy. It was crazy. And I was in grade 7, so it was like, what's going on? And my dad was hearing all this swearing and stuff. And
but is that you guys asking dad to bring you, or is that your dad saying, "Hey, I heard something's going on. Let me take you guys somewhere"?
You know what? Because of our love for hip hop, you know, my pops driving us around Scarborough to different sporting events, and we always just took over the radio. He knew we were into it. So when Public Enemy was coming into town, that was like my favorite group at the time. He knew that we were so into it. So he said, you know what? They're coming in. You guys want to go? We're like, hell yeah. So yeah, he took us, man. And, you know, he's probably one of the only dads there. I remember that night very vividly. I saw a couple boys from different schools and, you know, different sports teams. And they're like, your dad took you? I said, yeah, because we can't get in. I'm in grade 7. What you think?
Sick.
That's crazy. That's dope.
Man. So, yeah, man, hip hop is just, it's in the blood, bro.
Sick.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, I feel like when you ask that question, Fitz, we needed to. What am I looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? Pizzazz that question up a little bit, because you know what I thought he might answer, because we were talking about Mary Ward. I thought he might be like, you know, in the stairwells of Mary Ward,
nice.
Right? Like that kind of stuff. That's what I thought might be coming around there. And then, you know, we got a little bit deeper to the true roots of it, which is good.
The origin story. We all have an origin story,
right? It came from somewhere, because you know, that's.
But it didn't stop there. It didn't stop there.
Yeah.
It continued, you know what I mean? And as you guys know, you know, being in grade 9 in Mary Ward, you know, we had a lot of kids there who were into hip hop as well. And, you know, I connected with Agile and S-Rock and Clip and, you know, other artists out there, you know, Quasi, a lot of hip hop people, Marlon Mason, Wayne, you know, even Kevin Merchant, all those people were doing merch, whether it's like reggae, hip hop, and we always had ciphers, you know, during the lunchroom hour. You guys remember that in the cafeteria, bring their stereo, and then we just start rhyming, freestyling, doing our thing, and you know how it goes, man. We just continue to do it, and we started doing shows too. You know, talent shows was pretty interesting in high school. You know, we connected with, like I said, Agile, Jason Baldy, my boy, S-Rock, Dwayne, and we started doing shows, man. Talent shows at Mary Ward. We went to Bray Buff. We went to St. Joe's. We did like a whole tour almost every year.
So do you remember how? Do you remember how it came to a point where it's like, yo, guy, I think we should rap, guy.
We should do a group together.
Yeah, how did that manifest?
Well, I met Clip in summer school. I think it was grade 6, And, you know, I was always having like a little radio with me or my Walkman. So I'm always just kind of rhyming, doing my thing, vibing out, and clips like what you listening to. So that's how we connected. And then he told me he's into hip hop too, and he raps a little bit. So me and him were really close. And then he told me he's actually moving from wherever he was to my area, you know, back Midland and Steel. So he came to St. Rene Goupil. And obviously I was one of his first friends there. And, you know, we were in school, obviously elementary for 2 years, grades 7 and 8. So him and I always rhymed together. We did our thing. And one of my good friends was Lindo Parks. So Lindo was around the way in grade school.
Rene Goupil as well?
Yes, St. Rene Goupil. Man. So
okay. Midland and Steeles was a little hot spot.
It was a little hot spot. You know what I mean? So Lindo was a real good friend, and we saw his evolution as a reggae artist straight from his basement. He started doing things with Red Flame, and I was right there. We were all right there. My brother, you know, our crew from St. Rene. So we were in the mix. We saw what was happening at the parties, and we definitely wanted to get involved more. So when we went, So when we went out to Main Reward, I remember Agile. He won, like, I guess your talent show. He was like the rapper who won or whatever. I don't know what it was, but he won something.
Hang on. Just so everybody hears that one more time. DJ Agile won the contest as a rapper.
Yes.
Okay, just so everybody hears that correctly, because everybody knows Agile is certain, and I have mixtape with him on it, rapping. But I just want everybody to make sure they heard that. Sorry to interrupt you, sir.
No problem. Agile had bars. So, you know, when we're going out to Mary Ward as a grade 9, we want to know who's around for the MCs, who's there as a rapper. And we connected right away with Agile, and then, you know, met S-Rock as well. I remember S-Rock. He was on the basketball team for St. Aided in grade 8. So we're all familiar. You know, we all live within the same vicinity in a sense. So, you know, Mary Ward was just a home connection. And we just started just hanging out some more and started going down to Agile's house. He introduced me to like vinyl collecting because he already had obviously his collection because he was DJing a little bit as well. Him and JLJ, Jay Lawrence and Jay. So
JLJ.
Yeah, bringing it back, man. Bringing it back.
Yeah.
I spoke to Lawrence yesterday. Haven't spoken to him in 8 years. Shout out to Lawrence.
Big shout out to Low Key.
Low Key.
Yeah, man. So just off that, our love for music, we just started hanging out, started going to shows and concerts and parties, and we said let's do a group, let's do something together. So we actually started off as No Money Brothers because we had no money. That was the first name of the group, and then we called.
I just learned something new today. I just learned something new, guy.
Yes, sir. No Money Brothers because we're out broke. And then we called.
So hold on. That's at the same time as New Jack City with Cash Money Brothers.
Yes. We're opposite to that.
You guys are the antithesis to the Cash Money Brothers.
Yes. We're like Bizarro World.
Bizarro World.
Yeah.
Damn, that's funny.
Yeah.
No Money Brothers. Sound like an In Living Color skit.
Yeah, man, it was essentially, but that name didn't fly. So. Then we started off again with another name. I think Countless Endeavors, which was
Countless Endeavors. Yes,
I think I remember that. Yeah. That I heard.
And then we just came up with Brass Munk. I think S-Rock came out with Brass Munk, and the name just stuck. You know, it just sounded interesting. Sounded like it was some form of like entity, some kind of like superhero, Brass Munk. So
it sounded like something for sure.
Yeah. So we just rolled with it, man, and you know. Next thing you know, we doing our thing.
Shoot.
Yeah.
That's wild. And I'll say, I don't think that all in general as a whole. I mean, I guess kind of the circles that I'm in understands it, but just on a bigger scale as well. Like you guys were on a run for a serious amount of time at a time where it wasn't easy to make a run, I guess, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Like you guys had to hustle to do that. You guys had to be good and be hungry as well at that point in time, right? Like what was that time like? Because that's what, early 2000s, I guess, right? No, even earlier than that, a little bit.
So we started getting a little buzz as far as people in the city. I say we're in grade 10, 11. So let's say 94, 95, right? So we doing shows, there's always like a weekly open mic. So we're doing that, building skills, going to live at the barbecue, various hip hop events that were like key scenarios in the city at that time. And, we started recording, which was a whole different scenario because, rhyming, doing our thing in a cipher or going on stage and then actually recording, that was a process that we had to learn, especially just for myself, just to hear your voice. And it's like, it's not supposed to sound like that. So, you're just doing different takes and just trying to get comfortable in a studio situation. So that was 95, 96. And 96, I went away to LA. I got my scholarship to UCLA. And it was a blessing for sure because LA in itself is a whole different world of hip hop. Being from Canada, we loved the LA vibes, Far Side, Alcoholics, King T, of course, Dr. Dre, Snoop. So going down there, a young Canadian dude, just hungry, now really building roots with my group in Toronto and just kind of leaving. Yeah, it really allowed me to just get a better sense of hip hop globally. And one thing that was really cool is we actually pressed up our own vinyl. So we came out with our first single independently. We had like our own label. And, we called it Heavy Heads. Shout out to Marlon Brown, Alger, Roland Deschamps. Those were like our managers at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, they were our managers. And again, these are all just high school friends who are just lovers of hip hop. So when I was down there in LA, there was a place called Fat Beats, which is like a world-renowned hip hop record store. They had Fat Beats, I believe, in definitely New York. I think they had it in Atlanta, Los Angeles, and they specialize in this vinyl. So I had obviously vinyl from our single, and then I was also rapping with Mr. Adrian Weeks, Class INC. So I was in two groups. I was with Assassini, which was Daryl, my brother, Class, and myself, and I was with Brass Munk because we're all just good friends. And I was one of both best of both worlds, So we pressed up vinyl for both groups, went down to LA. I went to Fat Beats, connected with the store, and I gave him records on consignment. And then 3 days later, he called me up. He's like, "Hey, we sold out of the Brass Munk."
What?
What? And I'm like, "What about the Assassini?" I mean, I'm trying to push my peoples. He's like, "No, it's cool, but this Brass Munk thing is moving." So I brought him another 10. Yeah. And then 5 days later, we sold out. I'm like, "Word? Okay." So from that point, I'm in the scene in LA now. I'm traveling on the bus, going to different hip hop events, and then I heard
during school.
During school.
So wait, you're not got your class?
Well, at nighttime. On the weekend.
After study hall, guys.
Yeah.
After study hall.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So going to events now, and I heard our song at a club, and it was like bonkers, man.
Ooh.
It was like, yo. And that was like maybe 3-4 weeks of me being down there and trying to push the record. So long story short, Fat Beats was like, "We like your music. We want to buy some now," because we had it on consignment, which consignment is we give them some records, they buy it to give you the money later. So they bought a whole bunch, sold out really well, did our thing, and eventually Fat Beats started distributing our vinyl. So we really started climbing up into the underground hip hop scene, and it was an amazing thing, man. Especially being in LA, because some of the hip hop artists from Toronto was touring too, like Socrates came out there, Cardinal, IRS, and we broke bread with them, so we knew each other, but they didn't know too well. But we inside a concert, and they like doing their thing because Cardinal at this time he signed, and Socrates isn't, but he's well known. So I tapped him on the shoulder like, "Yo, what up?" He's like, "Yo, May 19?" I'm like, yeah, you here?" I'm like, "Dude, I go to school here, man. I live in LA." So that was kind of crazy for them to like see a
Mm-hmm.
Canadian dude out there, representing and holding it down in a concert scene. So it was a beautiful thing. Being in LA was perfect for hip hop because LA is hip hop for sure, 100%.
Mm. Sick.
Yeah, good
When
times.
did
Good.
all that? So when did you know it was really? So that's the start of it, right? Like starting to see it. You know what you guys can do. When did you think it was like, oh damn, like we are a thing?
Well, we started doing shows, definitely in Toronto, and what was really dope is after graduating from LA, UCLA, came back and started working, still rhyming, still recording. We had a booking agent at the time, and there was a big tour coming to Canada, and it was Snoop Dogg. So Snoop had obviously the chance of having anyone open up for him. And according to what I heard, he heard our music and he's like, I want these guys to open up. I'm like, yo, really? Us? So once we got the head nod from, Snoop, the Godfather, the LA Master,
Snoop Dogg. Yeah,
like,
man.
you know what? I think we're doing something special. And I think it was in 2002. It was over Christmas, like mid-December. We did like a week and a half tour with Snoop on the west coast of Canada. So we went to Saskatchewan, Alberta, Vancouver, and yeah, it was amazing, man, to do a show with that type of caliber of an artist because
Mm-hmm.
obviously he attracted a lot of clientele.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember we were in Saskatchewan and it was the first show and it was like, I don't know, maybe 8, 10,000 people in the stadium and it was completely packed. So we out there doing our thing and not so many people knew us. I mean, I don't even think we had a video out.
Mm.
But, they were vibing with us. And next thing you know, I'm on stage and I see some people throwing stuff. I'm like, oh shit, these guys throwing shit at us? Like, what's happening, man? Like, there's no love in Saskatchewan? And I started looking on the stage, like, what are these guys throwing at us? I'm like, oh, they throwing weed.
Oh.
They're throwing like little nuggets of weed at us. And then I started rhyming. I started picking up stuff. Like, no, that was so surreal when they were doing that. And outside of Ontario, I
Yeah.
know Toronto, like the Screwface capital, and we never really experienced a lot of, me mugging from people because people really connected with us out here. But going outside of Ontario and meeting the different people from different provinces, they really have a good taste of music and they really appreciated an artist to come to their town because they may not have access to like an urban radio station or urban market. So they really appreciated any type of sense of hip hop. So there was a lot of love outside of Ontario, and I appreciate all the Canadians out there that showed us love.
Man.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
so cool, man.
yeah, it was cool, man.
Snoop
When you
Deal
guys did that
Double
Snoop
G.
Dogg when you guys did that Snoop Dogg tour, I was super jealous. Super
Word.
jealous because you just that was my vibe.
Yeah, I know. I know
Mm.
you're on the West Coast.
I was like, yo, I should be
I'm
on the
saying
stage.
you should have called us for a ticket, guy. A little
No.
or a line bypass or something.
I should be on the
Yeah.
stage doing the crip walk.
Yeah. I tried to let
Look
them
at
know
me,
that
look
we
at
had a
me.
barber. I tried to let them know we could have like a tour barber, but they weren't buying.
Because he had dreadlocks. That's why.
Yeah, man.
Because the
cut
big
his
man
hair.
had dreadlocks at the time. That's why.
He didn't want to cut his hair, but
Could do his chin real quick or something, guy.
yeah, man. Yeah. No, it was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful situation.
That's amazing, bro. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So Snoop Dogg kind of was like the pinnacle of what you guys, not of what you guys got to, but that was like a really great moment for you guys.
Yeah, that's when we realized, okay, we have something. And, doing a show outside of your hometown, you get the hometown love, of course. So when we saw that there was an opportunity for us to share our music to other people and just a response, I'm like, okay, we got something because people were really vibing. And from that point, I think we signed pretty quickly after that. I think we got our deal a little bit before that or after that, but never really had any new music out on a major label scale. It was still just independent vibes. So once we got to deal with EMI Virgin, we signed like an imprint distribution deal, which was dope. So pretty much we had our own label and we did a joint venture with them. So we kind of controlled our masters and controlled the budget in a sense, and we did the marketing, and we just put all our heads together collectively. And we just started building on the first record. And what was dope was my man Fitz. He made the record. I think you're on the intro for.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we call it the young man Fitz, and Fitz is our first record, Dark Sunrise, and yeah, Dark Sunrise was our first album, and the recording of it was amazing. Like, this is when we started really maturing and evolving. And what was cool too is S Rock and Clip. I mean, those guys rhymed together more than me because I was in LA. So I
Right.
kind of my own vibe, and they had their own vibe. But when we got together, it still worked, which was pretty cool. And we recorded the album, and you know what? It did really well, man. We did a lot of shows, toured with Beat Nuts. We opened up for Raekwon, Talib Kweli, Slum Village, like toured with Far Side. It just continued to get better and better. And no, I appreciated that time in my life because being such a lover of hip hop and getting a taste of living that dream, even though short lived, I still think about it every day because not everyone can get a chance to like live out an opportunity like that. And thank God a lot of the people in my life at that time are still connected to the game, right? So it's still cool to see those artists like Agile. Agile's making a living. Like, that's all he does is DJ. I mean, he don't rap no more, and he still produces, which is a good look. But he's a professional DJ, and
You don't rap no more.
well, I'm sure he still got bars, but not publicly.
Yeah, man. We gotta put him on a show, guy.
No doubt. No, it was a beautiful thing, man.
But when you saying this now, I'm thinking about you got to actually live out kind of like two dreams at once.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to be an elite athlete.
Right.
Everybody wants to be like some sort of star, like artist of some sort. And you got to delve in both of those areas.
Yeah, it's interesting. People may know me from hip hop or know me from being a track athlete or someone in sports.
All depends on who it is and how you meet them on how they know you.
Exactly. So some people who don't know me from music realizes, oh, you did music too, and vice versa. So yeah, I lived a beautiful life, at that time. It was very interesting to be in a position where, I was like the #1 sprinter in Canada. And on top of that, building a career in music at the same time and going to, a market of LA where, UCLA was probably one of the best sporting schools at that time. And the track team was on fire. I mean, my track coach was, John Smith, who's coached multiple world record holders, Olympians. Like, my coach is the world record holder for the 440-yard dash. So that's never going to be broken because it's in yards. So that was my. And prior to me even going to UCLA, the NCAA champion was there, Otto Bolden. So it was just very overwhelming, extremely overwhelming to have all these things happening at the same time, So, thank God my parents held me down on being a humble man and keeping me grounded. And I think also not being aware of the moment. Like, some people, like kids now, because they have so much ability to research and get information from the internet, they can really see what's happening. When I went to UCLA, I didn't understand it was UCLA when I went there, as far as, oh my God, you went to UCLA. I wasn't really a sports fan where I knew every school and, who was the best.
You didn't know you were there with Ed O'Bannon. You didn't know that.
I did.
Oh, you did.
I didn't know his history though. Like Matt Barnes, Matt was my guy. I used to fade his hair.
Matt Barnes.
Yeah, because I used to cut here there too. I kind of
Oh,
learned from
come on now.
like Baron Davis was there, Earl Watson, just a lot of, like heavy athletes. And I didn't know their history from what they did in high school because I didn't have the internet really. So we were all just kind of there. And to me, UCLA was just a big, big high school. But I didn't know it was like, oh my God, UCLA until I came. And then people like, you went to UCLA? I'm like, yeah. And to this day, the eyes bulge out. But when I was there, it wasn't that type of situation. And I'm glad it wasn't because maybe it would have let it get to my head. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing.
Okay.
That's wild.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I even saw Shaq my first time there. Like my mom went down with me when I went there in October because UCLA, I think they're still on the quarter system. So they got 3 semesters. So they would start really late. Like all my people who are on scholarship, they leave like end of August. I leave Canada like end of September. So my first year there, my mom came down with me to help me like, unpack, see where I am, all those things. And we saw Shaquille O'Neal. Right.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he was driving, I think, a Porsche. And of course, it was kitted out and made especially for him because the boy's so big. And I'm like, Mom, that's Shaquille O'Neal. She's like, it is? I'm like, yeah. So it was interesting just to see all these different stars and just, getting involved in that type of atmosphere.
Wow.
Yeah, lots of stories. I got a lot of LA stories, bro. Lots.
I can imagine.
Yes,
We'll save those LA stories for another episode.
Yeah, man. Sure.
I was gonna say pizza in the break room after dark, but we're already after dark.
We are, after midnight.
Here you go. You never know how wild it gets up in here sometimes. Fitz gets crazy. That's the problem, yo.
Believe me, man.
Don't blame me.
Huh?
Don't blame it on. Don't blame me.
When the moon comes out.
Blame it on. Blame it on.
Is this a drink? Is this a drink you usually drink that, or is this new to you?
No, it's new.
How is it?
It's tasty. It's good. It's a Pinot Grigio. I don't think I've done a Pinot Grigio before. If I have, I can't remember. But
I think you've done like 7 on the show, guy.
Pinot Grigios.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. We'll have to go back through the tape and see.
No doubt.
And see.
What you sipping on? You sipping on, Bennett?
Actually, this is not.
Oh, what the hell?
Another joint.
This man is off brand. Off brand in the chat, people. Please.
When I
brand in the chat.
No, but I mean, it's in the right. Anyways, when I went to the Bills game.
Oh my God.
Okay, don't worry. See, it's all right. It's okay, everybody. Don't worry. Guys, everybody breathe. Everybody breathe. All right. All right. So I will just everybody hang on. All right. So I went to the Bills game the other day.
Okay.
And on the way back, I stopped at duty free.
Okay.
And at duty free on the sign right in the door, it was like Heineken 2 for whatever. So I rushed, and then they told me that all their import shit is basically they're not getting their import stuff. So there was no Heineken. Right. So through the power of deduction, I was at duty free. You know what I mean? I was like, shit, I'm gonna grab some beer. So right. MGD, nothing wrong with an MGD. I usually like MGD in the bottle, but it was a good deal. It was like a 2 for like $16.
Right.
So, I'm like, sure, why not? So
popped off.
That's my story, guys. It's in the red cup though. So, look at that. I was honest with everybody. I could have just said it's the Heineken in the red cup. Like what else? But no.
We love your honesty, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Someone once said to me that if something is on sale, but you never wanted it in the first place,
don't get it?
Is it really a sale?
That's what I used to say that all the time, but nobody listened to me when I used to say it, just for the record. But clearly, clearly I wasn't getting listened to. No, ain't nothing wrong with MGD. I'm just, I if I was at a barbecue at somebody's house, they'd probably have MGD. You know what I mean? MGD's a nice. It's always in somebody's cooler. MGD. So that's
easy
okay.
go to. Easy go to.
Yeah. So you know what? Here we go.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Right? I try.
I just got water, boys. I got my Walmart Great Value water right here.
Is that on brand? That's on brand for you, Coach?
Hey,
Yes, Coach.
I rock it every day, bro.
Yeah, the Walmart brand.
That's it. I get that, man. It's like what, $1.80 for like 12 joints. Pick that joint up. I'm good. Water's water.
It is a great value.
It is.
I was watching an episode of Atlanta a couple days ago. And it was episode 3 of season 4. And in this episode, he is the star, Charles Gambino or Donald Glover. He's waiting in this area to see D'Angelo. And he's been waiting there for like 3-4 days.
Okay.
Right. So now like he's in this like this room. And there's a guy that's watching him, and he goes like, "Do you have like water or something, man? Like I've been sitting here for days, right? If you watch the show, you'll see that the show's kind of super random,
Right?
So him sitting in this room waiting for days is like a random event. You know what I mean? Right? So then the guy shows him this cupboard, and he opens the cupboard, and he sees like a 12-pack of Dasani. And he looks at the guy and goes, "This is unacceptable."
I don't drink Dasani. I can't drink Dasani, man.
So I'm asking.
You can't drink water. How do you drink water and it makes noise when you open it, guy?
Does it?
Regular water. It doesn't say carbonated on it, as far as I'm.
Does anybody drink Dasani?
I've drunk it a few times. It's kind of salty, man. There's a lot of sodium.
Right, so there's something wrong with it, man.
Yeah, I think that water is a little salty. It tastes
there's something about Dasani that
it don't jive.
It don't jive, bro.
Okay.
Dasani and Aquafina.
Aquafina. Damn, they still got Aquafina? I haven't seen it in a long time. And that's a Pepsi joint.
They probably hide it behind the Dasani.
Probably hide it behind the Great Value.
If they're lucky, yo.
Yeah, I'm not.
So Tadao says Dasani and Aquafina are reverse osmosis.
Here you go. We getting specific.
He says that they are the cleanest drinking water.
Okay. Hey, man. Check Google. It's probably right.
Dasani and
it makes noise when you open
it.
It can't be clean, man. It makes noise when you open it.
Hey, man.
When you say it makes noise, what do you mean? Like
the bottle?
Yeah.
Like that?
Oh. Dasani. Oh. Yeah, no. When you open it, it makes noise. The Dasani. No, that's. If you drink Dasani, not that I drink Dasani, but I don't care if it's clean or not. It makes noise. That's the only thing. That's it. Done. That's what bothers me.
Everyone's getting a real specific situation on water right now.
Yeah, it's crazy shit. Anywho, all right. So
water
we went. So LA, Brass Munk.
Yeah.
More recently.
Okay.
You're a coach.
Yeah.
Certified.
Was it running for your life? The Gazelles.
Yeah.
Giving back to the community.
Absolutely.
Stuff like this. Tell me about this a little bit. When did that start?
Man, that started with my kids, man. I got like 3 kids. At that time, I had my 2 young bosses, Zion, who's now 20, my daughter, Sayla, who's 16 now. So let's see. We're in 2022, probably 2012, 10 years ago. Yeah, my kids were like interested in getting really into a specific sport. So, they were doing the swimming, the basketball, the soccer, but they did have some of the elements and the DNA of the Brookes. They didn't recognize there's some speed, and they knew I ran, and my ex-wife, Sayla's mom, she ran too. She was on scholarship in the U.S. as well. So they were curious about track. So I eventually started looking for a club. And from that point, I started volunteering with the local club in Durham. And my kids started going to that club. And I was like the assistant coach for the young kids. And from there, we started just building a nice roster in Durham because that's where I'm at. And things started getting real lovely at that point because kids started developing, and it actually just woke me up back to track because after UCLA, I mean, my UCLA experience athletically was a disappointment, unfortunately. My first year was pretty good. I popped off, did well, but I ended my first year with a hamstring tear. And in my second year, I actually had the red shirt. And in my third year, I pulled my hamstring again. It was like pretty much career ending. So track, I was a little bit jaded. I wasn't feeling the track as much as I used to. I kind of fell out of love with it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got back into the coaching scenario, it was a whole different world because I always looked at it through the eyes of an athlete, and now I'm looking at it as the eyes from a coach and someone who's there to mentor, especially the young athletes. So I actually fell back in love with the sport and just fell back in love with sports in general. So once I was doing the volunteer coaching, I applied for a grant from the government, the Ontario Self-Employment Grant. And it was pretty cool to get this grant because you actually had to do like a Dragon's Den type of situation where you had to create a business plan and you had to audition and present your idea. So I did it in front of a panel. Shout out to Andrea. She was one of the panelists. And they dug my idea. They liked the name Running for Your Life. I obviously had a history with track. So I was accepted into the program and I got a nice grant, and they hired different people within the community who were specialists. So there was like a tax specialist, someone who's a specialist in marketing, sales, someone who's a specialist in time management. So for 3 months, we're in class getting this information, and it was
That's
interesting.
awesome.
Yeah, it was a great program, very incredible program,
Whoa.
extremely productive, and a lot of support. So that's how I started the company, Running for Your Life. And, as I'm going through the growth and understanding how to get my foot in the game, I'm getting money from the government to help me out because a lot of people who start their business, you're kind of starting off from the bottom. And I was still at the bottom, but at least I had some financial support. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do anything stupid to mess up my plan. But the company grew pretty quickly because, God bless the history of me in track, people knowing that. And I started, developing athletes, and kids were getting faster, and my kids were fast as well. So, it didn't take too long before the company started growing. And one of the things I wanted to really key on is how, as an athlete, when I was younger, I wasn't the greatest basketball player. I wasn't the greatest, soccer player, volleyball player, but I was always a starter and sometimes even on all-star teams because I was fast. So I kind of put that concept together and I created the Running for Your Life, which is the better the runner, the better the athlete. So I started
Mm.
training athletes in basketball, hockey, tennis, showing them the running mechanics and how that can help them really enhance their athleticism and correlate the track game to soccer, to football, to all those things. So that's how the company started. And you know what? It's been a beautiful thing, man. This is all I do. Thank God for the opportunity to be an entrepreneur and being an entrepreneur in a lane that I know. Because I've done various types of jobs prior to this. I worked at IBM. I was a financial advisor. I was at Rogers. I did different things, and I was pretty exceptional in all of those. Things were good, but there was no love. And I found myself kind of reflecting back, what's gonna make me happy? Because when I was, in school, doing sports, doing music, those are passion projects that continue to allow me to kind of give myself and embrace those opportunities. So at this point, I'm like, what am I going to do to capture back that spirit? So when I got into the track game, the sporting game, it just opened up everything. And I'm like, this is what I need to be doing for the next 20, 30 years. And here we are.
That's crazy. That's good,
Yeah.
man. It's good because, as we get older, we see what we see of the people that we know. So to see kind of your club grow from what it was, and knowing you too, right? And like this, like you're putting back. It's like when people saw me coaching basketball, for example, right? It made
Yeah.
sense to people.
Yes.
So it's cool to see that, and then as well, how it's grown as well. So that's
Absolutely.
awesome. It's awesome. It's good to see people doing stuff in the community, and then like you see what your athletes are doing too. And I love seeing them like running up the hills. That's right, kid. Run up the goddamn hills, kid. I mean, we ain't, we don't got no fancy stuff all the time. You got to do the hard shit sometimes too, man.
Yeah, man. Nah, we do the bottom from the top, man. We start off at the bottom and we just build on the scenarios that you need to be a good athlete. So it's a beautiful situation, man.
So what do you find the hardest about what you do?
Man, there's a lot of different obstacles for sure. I think one of the tough things that I've learned to understand is dealing with parents, because a lot of parents are deeply involved in their kids' sports, and it's something that I didn't really witness or experience when I was an athlete. Like anyone who knew me as the athlete, when they see me now, the first thing they ask is, "How's my dad?" Because my dad was with me every step of the game, whether it was baseball, volleyball, track. He was right beside me, and he kind of showed me the way as being an athlete. He worked on different things with me, so he was essentially my first coach. But he always, for the most part, backed off when it was time to back off because I had my own coach. So the parents now, because of the transformation and the evolution of sports from youth and the monetization that it has now with prep schools and scholarships, now it's business and parents are deeply involved. And essentially, I'm dealing with parents more than the athletes in certain circumstances. So that's been something I had to get used to. Like, I had an athlete, I remember, and she was amazing. And the mom was just always shadowing every step of the game. And it got to a point where it was just really starting to inhibit and kind of stop what we were trying to do. And the mom understood I wasn't, appreciating what was going on. I gave her that talk, and I'm like, I know you're into it, but you got to give your daughter space and trust what I'm doing so we can see her go to the next stage. And next thing you know, the mom took her out the club and she went to a different club. And no, that hurt me, man. I actually cried because of that. Because it was one of my first athletes. I actually punched a hole in the wall when that happened. I was incredibly pissed off. And the athlete, she actually went to another club and she did well for the first few meets and then she fell off. And I'm not saying there's not other clubs that can do what I do, but we had a good connection and it was a good vibe and it didn't need to change, but the mom got involved and, long story short, I think she didn't reach her potential. So that's one of the things I've had to kind of understand and get used to these parents.
Yeah, man.
Outside of that, I mean, it's the regular stuff. You're running a business, you're an entrepreneur, so you got to do all the things you need to do to stay up on the game and stay ahead. And I consider myself a pioneer as far as running a business in the track and field community because I brought some of my business sense from UCLA, being a financial advisor, and I created this business where you could actually live and earn a livelihood instead of going to work and then coming back home and then you're going to be coaching. So I've actually been able to put myself in a position in my family where we can actually thrive off this. So in a lot of clubs, a lot of people have seen kind of my model, and I know a lot of people are trying to do what I'm doing too. I see it now, and that's all good because we're dealing with kids too, right? And the market is forever with kids. Like the business that we're in is forever because parents want their kids to be the best. And the business that I've chosen is very key, not even for just being an athlete, just being a citizen, learning the discipline of being an athlete, learning to keep organized and in the game of track. It's an individual sport along with being on a team. So it's been a beautiful thing just to be able to shift and shape the community that I'm around to build them up. But yeah, there's definitely challenges. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into some of the challenges just now that I'm facing. But you know what? It's been an incredible ride, and I'm thanking God every day for this opportunity, being in the position that I am.
What do you find is the most? Because I mean, I found parents challenging for sure, right?
Oh,
Because the parents only see it this way. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
my kid is this, no matter what, whether they thought they were the best or the third best. My kid is this.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, like
yeah.
you know, you should play my kid more, or this or that. You know, always there. So I found that tough too. What are the
Right.
biggest? So you said about 10 years ago you got into it.
Mm.
To now, like what do you see that is, and as a pioneer, right, what's the big change, what's different now that's positive, I guess, that's better for the kids just in general, guys, in the community of, let's say, Toronto track and field?
From the time I got into it until now, there was a lot more clubs, which is good. I think it's a good opportunity for athletes and parents to have an opportunity to choose where they're going to go. When I first started, there was still a solid amount of clubs, but it's grown a lot. And I think it's grown a lot because people see running is key for success in different sports. I think on the flip side, some people who started clubs, they may see, you know, the transformation from someone who started from point A to Z, and they see the Z, but they don't see the alphabet before. So they may think doing a club or doing a sports company is easy, and it's a heavy grind. It's not for everybody.
No, for
There's a lot
sure.
of got to do behind the scenes. But I think overall, as far as the community of Toronto, I think we're starting to catch up. There's still things that's happening, behind the scenes for sports that is difficult to see because being in, one of the high level marketplaces in the world, LA, you see how sports is a business and you see how Toronto and really the extension of Canada is taking a long time to catch up. Like, I think the basic scenario is this: if you want to go away for school, as far as a scholarship, you can go to the US. If you're an athlete who's exceptional, you're going to get a full scholarship. Now, some people who live in Canada, obviously, they want to stay home. If you're an exceptional athlete, you can't get a full scholarship here in Canada, which is a massive problem. And that is just the beginning of issues that we have as a country and a community for sports. Sports is taken seriously here, but not on the level of the US. Like, I remember when I was getting recruited, you know, I wasn't 100% in on going to the US because, again, I think the wool was over my eyes and I didn't see what was really happening. I was young. So, I had schools like Windsor, U of T, hollering at me saying, come to our school. And I was always a black and white type of person at that time. So I was like, really frank, why would I go to your school and my parents would have to pay thousands of dollars where I can go to a school in the US and they're going to cover everything? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how is there even a conversation? So that's the way I took it. And my parents weren't even in a situation where they were struggling. I mean, they probably had some money to help me out going to Canada as far as university, but I just used just the logic of, well, these guys are going to take care of me, and these guys aren't financially going to take care of me. And once I started doing a little more research, I'm like, okay, these guys have better athletes than these guys. And this coach has produced more than this coach. So I started just comparing, and it really comes down to the financial scenario of sports. So that's a struggle that we still have to, find ourselves and get out of in Canada. But it's getting better for sure because I'm seeing that people are starting to see the business part of sports here. and it's getting better for sure. So those are some of the things I've noticed in the last 8 to 9 years of me doing it. But overall, it's a beautiful thing. I'm seeing a lot of high level athletes coming out of Canada, especially in basketball. Like, I think right now we're considered the plug for a lot of these American schools. Like, their eyes are now on Canada, even like women's soccer, football. They see that it's no longer one person out of 20 that's going to get a scholarship in Canada. Now it's actually a population going away to the U.S.
Yeah.
So the door is open, and it's great.
That is good. That is
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
But I mean, yeah, progress is good, right?
It is good. It is good. Talk to me.
Okay.
Talk to me.
Okay. So, Coach Randy,
Yes, sir.
you just spoke about some of the trials and tribulations and the ups and downs and pitfalls of coaching and things that you've been through.
Yeah.
Quite recently,
Mm-hmm.
you've experienced some turbulent times.
Oh, yes.
And there's something about my buddy Tdothotshot that
Okay.
whenever he books a guest to come on this show,
Okay.
it happens to be right around a specific time that is so relevant to what is about to happen. So, for instance, the last time he booked Agile,
Okay.
and Agile was going to come on Tuesday, and Agile just did the big Canadian concert, right?
Yeah. OVO.
Very timely.
Right.
We have you here now.
Yes, sir.
And again, very timely.
Yes, sir.
Because there's a conversation going on
Mm-hmm.
in the media right now
Right.
in regards to a coach by the
Yes.
name of Ime Udoka,
Mm-hmm.
plays for the Boston Celtics. If anybody doesn't know, right now Ime Udoka has been suspended from the Boston Celtics organization for for a year for having intercompany relations with another staff member.
Yeah.
Right. And now
Sure.
he's in the midst of dealing with that situation. There's a lot of speculation going on in the media
Right.
about his situation.
Mm-hmm.
You've recently faced something. You've recently dealt with something in that same ilk,
Realm.
same realm.
Ilk,
Yeah.
good word.
I
Right.
was a major.
So, how do we get there? How do we get there? Like, how do we end up in a situation like that? So, for instance,
Okay.
I'll tell you like this. For instance, Ime Udoka ends up in a situation.
Mm-hmm.
I say, why?
Right.
How come?
Yeah.
Like, there's a saying, there's plenty of fish in the sea.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
These fish in this pond right here,
Yeah.
might cause a little issue.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So stay away from this pond and go deal with the sea.
Sure.
I'm asking you now, how do we end up in this situation? Because I've had the luxury of working home by myself all my time. So I can speak from whenever people come to me, they say, I'm in a relationship with someone at work and and I say to them, no, don't do that.
Right.
It will never end good.
Right.
But that's me being at home.
Sure.
I don't have the day-to-day, with someone with someone else. So explain to me how we get into a situation that we're in, and explain to me the situation explain to the chat, please, like what it is that we experienced.
No, absolutely. So with the Udoka, I mean, I've seen that happen last week. I don't know the full scenario of what's happened. I haven't seen the investigation report. So a lot of it is hearsay. We're hearing it from the media. But I've seen a couple of podcasts on what's happening because obviously I have an interest in what's happening to him. Hard to really speculate because we don't know.
Right.
But with him, it seems like he was with a staff member for perhaps she was not on the same par as him, and there was a power imbalance. I've heard a little bit of other rumors of why he broke other policies within the business infrastructure of the Boston Celtics.
Okay.
But, you know, it's unfortunate for him. Some people think the penalty was severe. Some people think it was warranted. For me, my situation, which I can definitely speak about, it happened 7 years ago. So me as a coach, you know, I was 37 years old and a lady joined our club. Okay. And she was 44 at the time. So it's an interesting scenario. The dynamics is interesting because this athlete was 7 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we had a cool coach athlete relationship, just like all the other athletes. She was probably one of 3 adult athletes in my youth club. So eventually, you know, this lady and myself became closer and we had a relationship while she was an athlete. And the relationship and the capacity of coach and athlete didn't last that long because she actually hurt herself, but wanted to continue being around the club and more than likely being around me. So she started coaching with me, was a business partner with me for various sporting events, did some administration. So the relationship actually lasted for almost 4 years. And she was married with kids. I was married with kids. So it was an affair, you know? And if we're talking on the factor of husband, wife, and what I did, yeah, it was definitely a bad move. And the reality is, you know, I wasn't the greatest husband at that time, you know? Like we all have our scenarios and yeah, looking back, it wasn't a good look as a husband. But
Mm-hmm.
that's another, if we're sticking to sports,
Right.
you know, it wasn't the greatest move as well because of some of the, I guess, optics
Optics. Yeah.
people would engage in if they hear about it, right? So, long story short, the relationship was an affair, was not sustainable. It became very toxic. So, I ended the relationship because it just wasn't something that was going to be sustainable. And there was just brewing scenarios. And the lady didn't take it well. She was very upset about the situation, very, very upset. So, you
About the
know,
ending of the relationship.
absolutely. So the end of the relationship, you know, was something that started uh, a long-winded, meticulous attack on me. And this lady's done multiple different things, but the main thing that brings in this combo is she put in a complaint to the Association of Track Athletics Ontario and said I manipulated her into a relationship because I was a coach and she was scared of me and all of those various connotations that may come about with a relationship that's unwanted. So, you know, obviously based on my position, that was not true. So, long story short, they did an investigation and they suspended me for 2 years. So the investigation was completely a disaster. I won't get into every single detail, but I'll just give you the tip of the iceberg so you guys could understand how much of a disaster it was. So you guys are educated men. If someone was investigating 2 people, you would think that the investigator would talk to both people and their witnesses, so on and so forth, gather information and complete a report that makes sense and put it out there.
Right.
This investigator never contacted me or my witnesses during this investigation, which is a problem, right? So
Mm.
a one-sided investigation, and you know what makes it even worse, the investigator is not even a licensed investigator. and never done this type of investigation in his life. So there's just
Was it her brother?
Good question. Was it her brother? That's a great question. So all I can say was natural justice, due process, and all things related to an investigation was not there.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, I put forth a legal claim to Athletics Ontario, this investigator, another association that also suspended me at the time. So
you were suspended from 2 different associations?
Yep, Athletics Ontario suspended me, and then the Minor Track and Field Association did not do their own investigation. They just piggybacked their decision and suspended me. So, it caused obviously some massive issues for me in the club and personal life and everything like that. So, I took my lumps and I stand accountable for certain scenarios, but fair is fair. And one of the things that was very apparent in this situation was I had my own allegations against this lady. This lady was arrested by the police for me and harassing other members from my club because of the fallout and how she was unable to take and handle the breakup. So some of the things that she's done was clear breaches in policies from this association, and they were unwilling to investigate it, which delves into different areas where you're looking at systemic issues. Systemic discrimination could be sexism, could be racism. All these things started to come to play, and by me doing an analysis of what's happening and seeing what I need to do to protect myself, I filed a legal claim against her, the associations, and all of this is still ongoing. The association that actually piggybacked the suspension of the bigger one, I signed an NDA, so I can't even get into the details of non-disclosure.
Okay.
But you can be clear that I'm happy I sued them, and things have resolved. I'm back coaching in full capacity with this association, and we're moving forward. The other one, not so much. So I'm still going through some legal scenarios with her and the association. And at the end of the day, it's interesting where prior to the Me Too movement, there was a lot of relationships that happen within the workplace. That's where people meet, right? You're spending 40 to 60 hours a week in the same environment. You're going to meet people. But the problem that has happened is some guys, not all guys, have made a real mockery of relationships, and they've abused ladies. It's true. They've been abusive to kids, to ladies. They've used their position to gain benefits, physically, psychologically, and it's been happening for a long time.
So now, give me 1 second. Let me give me 1 second, Randy. Everybody in the chat, it's 11:11, so we're going to pause for a minute. Randy, give me a hot second, and we're going to pause. And what we're going to talk about is a bad time to pause because this is a good story, and we appreciate you telling it. But this is about a lesson in judgment, I guess. And let's everybody pause and think about, never jumping to conclusions, right? And keep that energy because you never know at the end of the day how the story is going to play out. Big up to standing up for yourself as well, right? Sometimes, like you say, there's ownership in what you're telling me right now. And, you're like, certain things I did one way, but certain things are still wrong, right? And things have to be addressed as that. So good vibes in the chat. 11:11, big up. That's our minute. I'm so sorry for that. I'm pausing you in that story, Brooks.
No problem.
But I had to get it out. I would have been antsy if I didn't get it out. So
okay.
Woo. Big up to everybody in the chat. Thank you very much for being here, Randy. This is a story. So you talk about systematic stuff, right? Like you were talking about what's going on. So Carry on, sir.
So at the end of the day, there's been issues with men and women, and men unfortunately have abused some of the relationships. So, we have now a system where the hammer's put down aggressively against anything that happens where it could be a problem with a man and a lady. And I understand that 100%. I mean, I'm a father of a daughter, I got a mother, I got a grandmother, I got an aunt. So I understand and I love the ladies in my life, and I understand how these things have come to play. But we can't put every guy in the same box.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And because of that movement, when things happen with me, I believe some of that energy from that movement definitely played into what happened with me.
Because it was fresh. It was fresh.
Yeah.
The movement
Despite it
was
not
fresh
being
at the
that.
time.
Yeah. Despite it not being that. I mean, bottom line, I had a full consented relationship with a lady older than me.
Mm-hmm.
She hit the harassment button when I ended it because she wanted it to continue, the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of weaponization of what was going on. And it is what it is. I can talk about it forever, but that's the scenario. And a lot of guys were getting hit with it. Some are being hit because they need to be hit. Some are being hit because of the circumstance of the movement. So you got to definitely watch what you're doing. And obviously moving forward, hindsight's 2020. And I'm seeing
Hindsight's 2020 for some.
Yeah, hopefully for some and hopefully for all. But I'm seeing clearly, and those are scenarios that I won't be repeating because, it's just not it's not part of the game that you want to deal with, especially with the type of business that I'm in. But thank God I got a great support system from family, friends, and members. And you know what? I've survived this attack. And I'm still going through the war for sure because we still in court, and I'm suing multiple people in multiple scenarios because damages have to be dealt with, and just that's the way it is. You got to have natural justice, and you got to be unbiased in every circumstance. So we're still going through that, but hopefully, my man from Boston can get past this, and he's an amazing coach. So hopefully he gets picked up from a different team because I can't see him playing with Boston as far as coaching again, unfortunately.
So, yeah. Well,
There he is.
What's y'all thoughts on that?
No, okay. So, in regards to him, they're saying that there's a lot more information that needs to be explained for things to move forward, for people to have understanding. I guess we probably won't be privy to that information,
right?
But in regards to you and your situation, right? So this is your livelihood, right? You've been suspended from the organizations for like, what are you thinking? Like, what are you thinking now when they say you're suspended? Like what goes through your mind now in regards to like sustaining family, sustaining your livelihood, your life?
Mm-hmm.
Like where's your head? Like where do you go now mentally with that?
Well, during the suspension, it was tough for sure, man. I mean, luckily I grind and I'm able to adjust and I have support. So I was able to survive the first 2 years. And I mean, people are funny. When it happened, a few months later, COVID-19 came into play. And people were calling me like, yo, did God create COVID-19 for you? Because now every coach can't do anything. This is the perfect time to be suspended, Randy. And I'm like, man, I don't got that type of tap on God. But you know what? I got through it. Thank God. I'm still dealing with the major association, Athletics Ontario. I'm not reinstated. they've escalated because I'm suing them, and there's a lot of retaliation happening. But I am back with the Minor Track and Field Association, like I said, through my
Sorry,
lawsuit.
help me explain it. Help me differentiate the two, like the two
Associations?
two different associations, and what you do that works within the two.
So Athletics Ontario pretty much deals with high school and older athletes. If you want to make Team Ontario, Team Canada, go to Olympics, that's the pathway. You got to be a member. They're actually a provincial sport organization, PSO, and they're funded by the Ministry of Sport, the Ministry of Ontario. And they are given that designation, just like you have Golf Ontario, Basketball Ontario. These are provincial sport organizations. That's the governing body for that sport. So I deal with, kids who are high school and older who are looking to make a national team. You eventually got to be part of this membership. And right now, due to this suspension that I have, I'm not able to engage with that market, right? But the Minor Track and Field Association, who, we resolved our situation, they deal with grade 10 and under. And I would say most of the athletes usually are younger at the beginning anyway. So that's who I'm still, fully engaged with, coaching full capacity. But eventually you want to deal with the Athletics Ontario and go to the national level and all these things because, I've been an athletics.
You're gonna graduate with the kids.
Of course. I've been an Athletics Ontario, sprint coach for the provincial system. I've been a nominee for Coach of the Year. I mean, I get kids scholarships. I put kids on Team Canada. So that is a pathway you got to go through. And essentially, they got a monopoly. And, they are still, in my position retaliating because I'm standing up for myself. And I've called them out for essentially not having a fair and just way of dealing with the circumstances with me. And I'm looking for compensation for those damages, right? My lawsuit's in the millions because things were done, things were said, and there was a lot of defamatory situations.
Right, and then sometimes there's no turning back. There's no going back from, like, even if things work out, the defamation still sits and lingers.
Of course, absolutely. So, I got to defend my name, my brand. So that's essentially the difference. So it's been interesting, and there's a lot of high level things going on right now behind the scenes to help me get back into where I need to get back to. So I'm just hoping that through my legal team and things of that nature, we can move forward and progress. But we're moving in the right direction. The resolve with the other association was huge, and I'm glad that happened. And it just gives the general person a little bit of insight that, what? It's time to just get back to track and field. I mean, what's done is done, right? And that's pretty much where we are with it right now.
I mean, I think that's important because even thinking about whatever Boston guy, I can't pronounce his name, like that's at the beginning of what's happened. Like you are, you've been through it, and I can't even imagine what that is like to go through. But the fact that you're reinstated here and you're still going through this stuff just shows that at some point, everything's not one-sided, right? And like I said before, you like you said, you took your lumps for what you did and move forward on that part. But on a bigger scale, there's something to be said. So big up to standing up for what you have to stand up for at some point in time, right? Everybody's got that. So
absolutely.
Moving forward, and then also within that community, still impacting what you impact too, because like you said before you got into it, you were searching for your love for it a little bit too, right? So to me, I'm sitting there going, man, shit. Like as you were telling me that, I was like, so shit, you got this love again for it, and then this happens.
Yeah,
of
course.
But you're still going, So
yeah, man, still moving, man. So that's what it is, man.
Keep showing up, I guess, right? So,
Yes, sir. I mean,
Keep showing up.
got to every day. But yeah, it's been great to have good support from the community, especially from all sides. Like, I mean, I didn't say that this lady is a white lady, right? And I'm a black man. So I've had tremendous support from the white community, actually, because they understand, the game that happens when you have a dynamic relationship like that, and they understand the history behind these fallouts. So I've had some parents really, email me and pour out their heart when they see me, and I'm like, okay, you understand what's happening. So it's been great to see that. And you also have on the other side people who are just waiting for the shoe to fall off, right? And this is competitors or people who weren't really happy for you being successful, and they were waiting for an opportunity to say something when things weren't great. And lucky for me, being a Scarborough man, we already know who these people are from the beginning. So it was no surprise when certain people ran with that narrative.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you just stick to the facts. And that's what I've been doing, sticking to the facts and just keeping my head high and not hiding, right? Because this could have destroyed me 100%. I mean,
Absolutely.
this situation was in the Toronto Star. It was in a lot of major media outlets. And, it can really have an effect on multiple scenarios. But I stuck with the facts. And essentially, I knew that we were dealing with a weaponization of a scorned lady. And I know who I am. I look in the mirror, and unfortunately, people may see something that I'm not based on history, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is, and you gotta stay confident. You gotta stick with the facts, and you just gotta keep moving. And the athletes are really the ones who kept me going too, because they wanted their coach back. They wanted the coach back who they had that connection with, who they believed in, and the parents wanted that coach back too.
I was
So
gonna ask you. I was gonna ask you that because I was gonna say, like, I mean, a lot of parents have hear what's going on. Do some parents feel like, okay, I'm out of here?
right.
So you experienced a lot. Did you experience a lot of that or not a lot of that?
Well, definitely at the beginning, because of me not being able to coach some of the athletes in the association, they had to dip. They had to go to a different club. And I
Mm-hmm.
understood that. What I did is I set up the club with a different coach, and I gave that coach ownership and pretty much all the blessings to take over, because
Mm-hmm.
they also suspended my club. And they sent out an email to the members saying the club suspended, so you can now go to a different club.
Mm-hmm.
So, I took it as really a way of trying to just destroy the business. So, thank God I have support, like I said, and, certain coaches took over the reins, and people who have enough common sense are able to, go through the noise and see what was actually going on. And there was a lot more of those people than those who wanted to go with the narrative of the hot topic of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, I still have to sometimes explain what's going on, because, you put in a little Google search or whatnot and you see the situation, but then you go on, the Instagram, you're like, you see something else. So they're like, what's happening? Like, and I tell them what's going on. And, most people are like, why were you suspended?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the question they asked me. And, I understand some of the circumstances, like I said, but again, a lot of it was malicious, and there was weaponization of what happened. So it's a muddy situation, and we're still in the thick of it, but we are moving forward. And with that reinstatement and that win, there's going to be more coming up. We just got to stay focused and patient, and thank God for incredible members who know what's good, and they believe in me. and they believe in what we do as a group.
Well, that's super important right there.
Yeah,
The fact that you have people that believe in you and support.
mm-hmm.
And I mean, I know things get sticky, things get rough, and I mean, none of us are beyond reproach. You know what I mean? Like, we are all human, and we all have our
Everybody's got their story, bro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Everybody, ain't nobody perfect, man.
Nope.
Yeah, we all have our story, you know. Yeah. So even when I ask you the questions about how could you, why would you, how did we get here? It's not me asking, you know, standing on a moral high ground. You know what I mean? It's me trying to understand.
Yeah, that's what the people want to ask. That's what the streets are asking.
No, well, I'm glad to see. Like, I'm glad to see that that you're back in operation. You know what I mean? And that this mistake didn't cripple you, you know, or crush you, because I mean, it definitely could. And I have to commend you for your tenacity, right, and perseverance, because some people would like take the defeat and just like, that's it, man.
Go hide in the corner. Yeah.
Go hide in the corner. But you know, like, for you to stand up and fight, it's commendable.
No doubt.
It's commendable, and I'm glad you're here to demonstrate the resolve. You know,
right?
I guess lessons learned, right? Randy did,
yes,
so that you don't have to.
That's it, man. That's it. Definitely lessons learned, and you just got to move forward and stand on the facts. That's what we all got to do.
Sounds like there's a lot of story to tell.
Yes, sir.
Beyond this, of course, you know, it's
of course.
Like, imagine getting through this and putting it all to rest, and then having that, you know, resurgence that come back through that resolve, right? So, yeah, man, it's great to hear your story. Like, man, like, whole story, man. So, you know, we went way back.
Yeah.
Little League baseball, big Brass Munk.
Yep.
Wolverines, Mary Ward, stand up. Geez, like, so, and, like, it's like I always say, man, look at us now, a lot of us, right? Just in terms of, we're talking, we know each other since, you know, 13, 14 years old, yo.
Right.
We got a couple grays now. We didn't have no grays before. We're barely growing. We're barely like growing stuff at that time. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, man. We men now.
Right now we're sipping on screw bottle wine with corks, guy.
Yes, man. Yes, man. One
time, boys to men.
One time it was Sarasota. Now it's
or Kanai. The guy's straight Kanai, yo.
Yeah.
More times, big up. Yes, Mary Ward, stand up, man. A lot of, man, every time we hear stories, man, it's just bare Mary Ward people, yo.
Yep. Yeah. Beautiful high school, man. That was the epicenter.
Man, a lot of learnings in those halls.
Yes, sir.
Man, Randy Brookes, man, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here, for telling your story. We hope we did you justice by that.
Yeah, man. Good looking at having me.
Everybody in the chat, thank you so much. We're gonna what? We're gonna fly out of here. Where are we going? Who's here, Fitz? Who's online? You see who's online? What's that?
Let me just check and see.
Oh, Star Q's online. Star Q's good?
Star Q's good.
All right. So everybody. Oh man. Oh, that's what's going on over there. Look at that. Is that Tupac? Oh, that was some gangster music, guy. Look at Fitz smiling, guy. Holy.
Yeah, man, you should have seen inside Chilling and Grilling the other day. They had a set where they started playing some Tupac, and I was like, "What?" I must have known I was here.
Did you see what guy?
Of course. What are you talking about?
I don't believe you. OAC accounting with Randy. Look at this.
More times. What's up, Kim? Big up, Kim.
Big up,
peoples.
Right. So
okay, Randy, let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
Before we disappear, did you already set it up, Shaun?
No, go ahead.
All
Very
right.
good.
So here's a question. Here's a question for Randy right now, and also a question for everybody who's in the chat. So right now, I'm going to ask this question: what do you know for sure? And what do you know for sure is a no?
Fancy question.
2 questions.
So what do you know for sure, and what is a no for sure?
So what do I know for sure? God's great.
Okay.
That's right. And what do I
damn.
know? What is a no for sure?
And what is a no for sure?
That's a good question, man. What is a no for sure? All right. Never giving up, man. We don't give up over here. We keep moving. You know what I mean? We kings over here, keeping it moving. So that's a no for sure. Never giving up. Asparagus. Someone says asparagus.
Asparagus is a no for sure.
Trouble in the house. Big up,
Everybody
Trouble.
in the chat. Everybody in the chat. One last thing before we go. What do you know for sure? And what is a no for sure?
What do you know for sure? Wow. That's a good one.
That's good. I like that. I like that. You playing on the words over there, Fitz.
No pepper. In the bedroom.
No pepper in the bedroom.
Oh, Lord. Oh, man. All right.
Anywho,
We're going to head out this.
It's after dark now, right?
Yeah, man. We're going to get out of here. We're going to go visit DJ Star Q again one time for Randy Brookes, Coach Randy.
Pace.
Brass Munk, May 19, right? May 19. That was a good name back in the day. That was a good name. I like that. I like how you came with that stuff.
That's it. Yo, thanks for having me, boys. Appreciate that, man.
Yo, hey, man. Thanks for joining us.
No, we appreciate you, man. Thank you for taking your time. We know you're a busy guy, man.
Good vibes. We're going to catch up soon, though. We'll do it again, I hope.
Yeah, man. As many times as we can. So, Randy, you hold on 1 second. We're going to jump at you backstage.
Yeah.
To everybody in the chat, thank you one more time for being here. We got people here still. Miss Ron C, Tdow, Cindy Milo, Cuz, Christy Ray, big up.
What?
And everybody else in the chat, man. Everybody, let's go holler at DJ Star Q.
Big shout out G the Greek. Big shout out Foxy G. Daryl. What up with you, Miss Francili? Big shouts out to you. Who else we got here? We got Valentina. More Times. Chris Man and Kelly. Christy Ray. What up, cuz?
Dun, 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 dun.
Tdow. How you like me now?
Big
LL.
up, man.
Mrs. Ron C. We say
all right, y'all.
All right.
Boom, boom. All right.
All right, my brother.
Peace.
Thank you so much, my guy.
All good. One love, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much, sir. That was good stuff.
Yes, sir. I enjoyed it.